A flash of silver, a streak across the sky. A small spaceship, not much bigger than a car, nestled amongst the lavender fields of Provence. Quite the sight for our protagonist, eh? He wasn't your typical tourist, mind you. Xyla, as we'll call him, hailed from a distant star system, a place of swirling nebulas and binary suns. His people, the Astria, were known for their wisdom and, oddly enough, their exquisite taste in lavender. Xyla, a young chap full of curiosity, had snuck off on a solo expedition, eager to experience Earth's famed lavender fields firsthand. Perhaps a tad reckless, wouldn't you say? Xyla, clad in a shimmering, almost iridescent jumpsuit, stepped out onto the soft earth. His eyes, large and luminous, took in the sights and smells of this strange new world. The air hummed with the drone of bees, and the scent of lavender filled his senses. He reached out a hand, his three-fingered hand, to brush against the velvety petals of a nearby flower. It was all so different, so vibrant, so alive. He couldn't wait to see more. Little did he know, adventure awaited him in the form of a most peculiar human girl. Celeste, a budding astronomer with a thirst for the cosmos, lived in a quaint cottage overlooking those very lavender fields. She spent her nights gazing at the stars, her telescope her constant companion. Tonight, however, the stars seemed to have rearranged themselves. A strange, shimmering object had appeared in her usually predictable sky. It was small, perhaps even artificial. Could it be? Could it actually be what she thought it was? A thrill shot through her as she adjusted the focus of her telescope, her heart pounding in her chest. There, in all its otherworldly glory, was the object that had captivated her attention. But it wasn't just the object itself that took her breath away. It was the being that stood beside it. Tall and slender, with skin that shimmered like moonlight on water, he looked up at the sky, his gaze lost in the vastness of space. Even from this distance, she could see the intelligence and curiosity in his large, luminous eyes. He was like nothing she had ever seen before, and yet there was something about him that felt strangely familiar. Xylar, feeling a pull, a sense of being observed, looked up from his examination of the lavender. There, on a hill overlooking the field, stood a small cottage, its windows glowing with a warm, inviting light. And in one of those windows he saw her, a young woman, her face framed by a cascade of dark hair, her eyes wide with wonder as she looked back at him. Their eyes met across the distance, and in that instant, something sparked between them. A connection, instant and undeniable. He couldn't explain it, not logically anyway, but he knew he had to meet her. He cautiously made his way towards the cottage, his steps hesitant at first, but growing more confident with each passing moment. As he approached, he saw her emerge from the house, a look of both apprehension and excitement on her face. He stopped a few feet away, unsure of how to proceed. "What do you say to a girl who's just seen an alien for the first time?" He smiled, hoping it translated across the species barrier, and extended a hand in greeting. Now, love stories are all well and good, but what's a good sci-fi tale without a dash of peril? Xylar and Celeste, their initial awkwardness long forgotten, had fallen head over heels. They spent their days exploring the French countryside, sharing stories of their vastly different worlds. Celeste regaled him with tales of human history, of art and music and literature. Xylar in turn spoke of vast nebulas, of planets with rings that stretched across the sky and suns that burned in a kaleidoscope of colours. Their love blossomed under the light of two moons, a testament to the power of connection that transcended even the boundaries of space and time. One day, while on a joyride in Xylar's spaceship, they encountered a rogue cometary belt. Think cosmic dodgems, but with considerably higher stakes. Xylar, ever the skilled pilot, navigated the treacherous field with expert precision, his hands moving deftly over the controls. Celeste, ever the adventurer, whooped with delight as they zipped and zoomed around chunks of ice and rock, her laughter echoing through the cockpit. But as they neared the edge of the belt, a particularly large chunk of ice, dislodged perhaps by their recklessness, came hurtling towards them. Xylar, with no time to react, could only brace himself for impact. Section 5, First Aid for an Alien. The impact, when it came, sent a jarring tremor through the spaceship. Warning lights flashed, bathing the cockpit in an eerie red glow. Celeste cried out in alarm, her gaze darting around the cockpit, searching for the source of the problem. "Zyla!" she exclaimed, her voice filled with concern. "Are you all right?" He groaned in response, his hand clutching his side. His normally luminous skin had taken on a sickly pallor, and beads of sweat stood out on his forehead. I don't think so," he gasped, his voice weak. "The impact, it damaged the ship and me." Celeste, her heart pounding in her chest, sprang into action. She may not have been a medical expert, but she knew basic first aid. And besides, Zyla needed her. She quickly assessed the situation. The impact had ruptured a coolant line, and the highly corrosive substance was spraying out, burning into Zyla's side. She had to act fast. "Hold still," she instructed, her voice firm despite the tremor in her hands. "I'm going to help you." Section 6. A Universe of Gratitude. Celeste, remembering a documentary about treating chemical burns, knew that time was of the essence. She grabbed a blanket, ripped it into strips, and ignoring the searing pain in her own hands, used them to staunch the flow of coolant. Zylar cried out again, a mixture of pain and surprise in his voice. He had never known a human to be so brave, so selfless. She worked quickly, her brow furrowed in concentration, her movements swift and precise. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, the flow of coolant slowed to a trickle, then stopped altogether. "There," she said, collapsing back into her seat, her chest heaving with exertion. "That should hold until we can get you to a medical facility." She looked at him, her eyes filled with worry. "How are you feeling?" Zyla, his breathing still shallow, managed a weak smile. "Like I owe you my life," he whispered, his voice filled with gratitude. "You were incredible, Celeste. You saved me." Section 7. Love Beyond the Stars. With the immediate danger averted, Celeste managed to send out a distress signal before the ship's systems failed completely. They crash-landed back on Earth, thankfully near a town with a well-equipped hospital. Zyla, his injuries more severe than he initially let on, underwent emergency surgery. Celeste, her hands bandaged but her spirit unyielding, refused to leave his side. She kept vigil by his bedside, her heart aching at the sight of him, so vulnerable, so human in his pain. The doctors, initially baffled by Zyla's alien physiology, were amazed by his resilience and by the speed of his recovery. Celeste, they said, was a miracle worker. Her quick thinking and even quicker actions had saved his life. As Zyla recuperated, he couldn't help but reflect on the depth of Celeste's love for him. She had faced the unknown, the potentially dangerous, without hesitation, all for him. He knew then that their love was something rare, something precious. It was a love that transcended planets, galaxies even, a love that knew no bounds. Section 8. Earthly whispers, cosmic echoes, news of the alien visitor and his daring human companion spread like wildfire. Soon the world was clamoring for a glimpse of the star-crossed lovers. Zilar, fully recovered and overwhelmed by the attention, longed for the peace and quiet of Celeste's cottage, for the scent of lavender and the star-filled skies. He realized that while he loved exploring the cosmos, his heart belonged on Earth, with Celeste. Celeste, ever the pragmatist, knew that they couldn't stay hidden forever. They decided to hold a press conference to share their story with the world. Standing hand in hand, they faced the throng of journalists and cameras, their love for each other radiating outwards like a beacon of hope. They spoke of their adventures, of the beauty of both their worlds, and of the importance of understanding and acceptance. Their message resonated across the globe, a testament to the power of love to bridge even the widest of divides. Section 9. Forever Entangled. Life, as it is wont to do, went on. Zila, with his advanced technology, helped to usher in a new era of peace and prosperity for Earth. He shared his knowledge with the world, bridging the gap between their two civilizations. Celeste, ever by his side, became an ambassador of sorts, teaching humans and Astrians alike about the importance of understanding and respect for their differences. They married in a beautiful ceremony held in the lavender field where they first met, a celebration of their unique and enduring love. Their story became a legend, whispered amongst the stars and passed down through generations, a reminder that love, true love, knows no bounds. It can bloom in the most unexpected of places, bridging galaxies and uniting hearts. And as for Zylar and Celeste, they lived quite happily ever after, their love story forever etched in the fabric of the cosmos. The end, or perhaps just the beginning.